Good afternoon, fans. This is episode 240 of Mel'S Mat Chat. Hopefully, everybody's having a great Friday. It's really not Friday when I'm doing this. It's actually Wednesday night, and I'm going to be uh, uploading this at 2 o'clock on Friday. So, because I got lots going on this weekend, my son's coming home. He hasn't been home since Christmas because of the reason that my mother died, and my head wasn't in it, so I was able to um, finagle something that He was coming home this weekend, and it's Memorial Day weekend. There's really nothing going on, but having him home is always so well and good. It'll be his first time being here in without my mom, his grandmother, and hopefully that you can give me the prayers to get me through this whole weekend because I'm a little nervous. I'm it. I can't just say, "Hey, you take care of him, mom," or "You watch him," or whatever. Or keep an eye on, so I could go rest. This is it. I'm gonna be on like coffee is going to be being made by the gallons this weekend. Hopefully everybody is going to have a great weekend. Please have a safe Memorial Day weekend. This is the going to be the starting of Double or Nothing weekend. I'm going to be uploading my preview and predictions on at around 2 o'clock on Sunday, and I'm going to try to go live right after Double or Nothing. Just fingers crossed, okay? So, lots going on, and I want to make a declaration right now. I am not supporting Ringside News until they do something. So they send out a press release or whatever the case may be. I am not going to repeat them on this show because I don't know what the heck's going on. The management over there, they better do something about whoever is in charge over there. They've got it. They've got to make sure that that guy gets help. Once he gets help, and they can figure everything out. I can't be a part of that. I can't, and I feel bad. And I love Ringside News, but I can't do this. It's disgusting what he's doing over there. I can't be part of it. So sorry. He's good. A cup of coffee. So anyway, the people who I do support are Harry's Razors at harrys.com. Go check out maestroclassics.com. Let me tell you something. I don't have a beard, but I do know people who have them and they use the product. Awesome. Righteous. So go check them out. maestroclassics.com. Now, I am right now drinking coffee. I'm drinking Death Wish. I am a avid supporter of this coffee. It is delicious. It keeps you focused. It makes you aware, and it's very, just heed my warning, it's very strong and powerful. So drink it, heed my warning. Go check it out at deathwishcoffee.com. Now, I'm always bopping around and making sure everything's getting done, and I sometimes need something to quench my thirst. And that is Liquid Death. Go check that out at liquiddeath.com. They have 3 new flavors, so go check them out. One may tickle your fancy, or all 3 will tickle your fancy. Please do me a favor. Go check out hogwrestling.net. Their pay-per-view Holy Grail's coming up, and they're going to be crowning a new world heavyweight champion. So go check that out. Also, please go check out Outbreak Wrestling. Go check out all social media, which is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc. All right, let's get this party started. Now, you know the deal when I do a preview and predictions. I take the go home shows and put them on the preview and predictions. My nose is running like crazy. So I will be doing that. But the last week's Rampage will be on this, okay? Tonight's from Rampage was from the Fertitta Center in Houston, Texas. We started with a trios match. The House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black versus Fuego del Sol, the Dark Order, Evil Uno, and 10. Evil Uno tried to take the attack to Brody King, but Brody King quickly outmuscled Uno and tagged in Malachi Black. Malachi Black fired in some big kicks to Evil Uno, but Evil Uno knocked Black off his feet with his shoulder tackle. 10 tagged in and used a belly-to-belly suplex on Black. Malachi Black used a leg capture into a heel hook on 10. 10 chopped away at Black, and then Fuego del Sol tagged himself in. Fuego ate an arm drag for Malachi Black. Buddy Matthews tagged in and stomped down on Fuego del Sol's arm. Buddy Matthews snapped Fuego del Sol's arm, making a hand gesture to mock Penta Oscura, and send a message to the Death Triangle. The House of Black triple team Evil Uno with stereo kicks. The House of Black have singled out Evil Uno, said Taz. Fuego del Sol tagged in but was knocked off the apron onto the arena floor by Brody King. Outside the ring, Brody King chopped away at Fuego del Sol. Brody King brought Fuego back into the ring and continued to punish Fuego. 10 tagged in and cleaned house on the House of Black. 10 ducked a roundhouse from Malachi Black. Dark Order used tandem offense on Malachi Black. 10 tried a double choke slam on Buddy and Malachi, but Malachi escaped and applied a knee bar to 10. Evil Uno ran in and saved his Dark Order stablemate. 10 mocked Malachi with a discus lariat. Evil Uno and Brody King tagged in for their respective teams. Evil Uno waffled Brody with a several running boots. Chopped Brody down to size. Matthews nailed Fuego with a DDT on the ramp. Brody finished off Evil Uno with a Gonzo bomb for the 3 count. After the match, Death Triangle walked onto the ramp. Penta Escudo unveiled a tombstone that was engraved with House of Black and Double or Nothing, and they will face off at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. The chairman, Sean Spears versus Big Damo. I forgot his name. He was in NXT. Sean Spears, the Giant Killer, is on a mission to show that he can take out Wardlow this Wednesday on Dynamite in a steel cage match, said Excalibur. Big Damo charged in at Spears, but Spears left the ring. Spears kicked Damo in the jaw, but Damo shrugged it off. Big Damo hit a running crossbody block on Spears on the arena floor. Damo followed up with a cannonball senton on Spears. Damo Damo tried for a fader bomb, but Spears dodged it. Spears cracked Big Damo with a big knee. Spears delivered a C4 to Big Damo and pinned him, sending a message to Wardlow at the same time. Spears, I told you all that I was Wardlow's kryptonite. 2 days ago, I left him in the ring, proving he is not Superman. Next week in the main event, Sean Spears isn't going to be going to be in the steel cage with Wardlow. No, Wardlow is going to be locked in the ring with the giant killer, Sean Spears. Backstage, the Undisputed Elite had some choice words. The Bucks challenged the Hardys at Double or Nothing. We are cordially inviting you to a super kick party, Matt Jackson said. Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. Chris Statlander versus Red Velvet. Ruby Soho joined the commentary team for this match. Red Velvet slapped Chris in the corner. Statlander power slam Red Velvet. Statlander ragdoll Red Velvet. Chris attempted a baseball slide, but Red Velvet lifted the ring skirt, capturing Chris in it. Red Velvet tried to jump on Statlander, but Statlander grabbed Red Velvet and planted her heart on the ring apron. Chris blasted Red Velvet with a massive German suplex for a near fall. Red Velvet rallied back with the final slice on Statlander, but Statlander kicked out. Red Velvet fired off elbow strikes to Statlander. Chris planted Red Velvet with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Red Velvet came back with a double knee strike and then flattened Chris for a very, very near fall. Velvet can't believe it, said Chris Jericho. What a battle here, said Taz. Chris blocked a kick from Red Velvet and then rolled up Red to pin her. Chris Statlander advances. The baddies section attacked Chris from behind. Ruby Soho ran down to even up the odds. Jade Cargill jumped into the ring and neutralized Ruby. Anna Jay grabbed Sterling's crutch and forced Jade and the baddies to retreat. Scorpio Sky was out and demanding the return of his TNT championship alongside American top team Dan Lambert and all ego Ethan Page. Bad things happen to people when they cross the men of the year. And at ATT, I'd have to ask the inner circle, but they don't exist anymore. Better yet, why don't you see what we did to Sammy and Tay? Sky, talking is not something I came out to do. So, Sammy, bring out my belt or I'll come back there and bury you. Sammy and Tay appeared on the big screen where they were outside the arena. Sammy threatened to smash the belt with a sledgehammer unless Scorpio Sky gave him another match. Sky wouldn't budge, so Sammy began to smash the TNT title with a sledgehammer. I guess Tay Conti got a little bit of a parting gift from old Papa H. So we're backstage with Jade Cargill announced she'll defend her championship against Anna Jay at Double or Nothing this Sunday. Main event time. Blackpool Combat Club. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. William Regal joined the commentary team for this match. Jake Hager stood behind Chris Jericho. The Blackpool Combat Club charged Dante and Matt in the match began. Danielson rocked Dante Martin with a European uppercut. Moxley tagged in and connected with a big kick to Dante. Danielson tagged in and stomped on Dante's leg. Danielson locked on the Romero special. Bryan clubbed Dante with forearms. Moxley tagged in and started to box Dante Martin. Dante Martin desperately needs to make a tag, said Excalibur. Finally, Seidel tagged in and chopped Mox's legs with kicks. Matt Seidel was using rapid fire pinfall attempts trying to tax Mox's cardio, conditioning Mox snatched Seidel out of the air and dropped him across the ring ropes. Danielson tagged in and nailed Seidel with a diving knee strike. Dante tagged in a huge hit. Dante tagged in a hit a huge cross-body press on Danielson. Moxley made the save, breaking up the pin. Dante climbed to the top rope, but Danielson shut him down. Suplexing Dante, Bryan transitioned into the label lock. Dante, showing off his heart, clawed his way to the ropes, finally reaching it with his boot. Danielson's frustrated began dishing crushing round kicks to Dante Martin. Moxley tagged in, but Seidel disrupted things. Seidel and Martin used stereo roundhouse on Moxley. Dante surprised Mox with a nosebleed, but Danielson broke up the pin attempt. Dante attempted a poison rana off the middle rope, but Mox caught him. Dante pushed off the turnbuckles for a near fall on Mox. Mox spiked Dante with a pile driver for a 2 count. The kid is showing some fire here, said Jericho. Moxley started torturing Dante with the hammer and anvil elbow strikes. Mox pinned Dante after crushing him with the paradigm shift. Jericho and Hager ambushed Moxley and Danielson after the match. Santana Ortiz and Kingston rang out to even up the odds. They brawled with the Jericho Appreciation Society as the show went off the air. This is now Bryan Danielson has gotten a slight injury where you had the ring apron and the beginning of the ramp. His leg got stuck. Hopefully that it's not as bad as what people are saying, but Godspeed to him, and hopefully he'll be okay for this Sunday. Love that hot coffee. I tapped the wrong thing. I'm sorry, people. All right. Tonight, SmackDown will take place from the city of Grand Rapids in beautiful state of Michigan, where tonight we will see the much anticipated tag team title unification match as RK Bro takes on the Usos to see which team will be crowned the true tag team champions. It should be interesting to see how things play out on tonight's show. SmackDown started off with the Bloodline making their way to the ring. Reigns tells Grand Rapids to acknowledge him, to which the Western Michiganders happily oblige. Reigns says that tonight you're also acknowledging the Usos. Reigns hands the mic to Heyman, who calls this the single biggest night of the history of tag team wrestling. Heyman says that every day of his life, Reigns defends his position as the greatest of all time, and for the Usos to be the greatest tag team of all time, and will do something no team has ever done before, and unify the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Excuse me. Heyman says it's not enough to be the cousins of the tribal chief, and that they either come home champions or never return to the island of relevancy. Reigns takes back the mic and says he expects he expects the Usos to deliver, and Reigns hugs the Usos in the middle of the ring. Come back from commercial break. We have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Our opening match with a lockup that Zayn turns into a side headlock. Zayn hits a shoulder tackle and covers for a 2. Nakamura locks in a side headlock and then a shoulder tackle of his own. Nakamura hits an enziguri and stomps on Zayn in the corner. Nakamura hits a knee drop and covers for a 2. Zayn slams Nakamura to the mat by his hair and hits a series of right hands on the mat. Zayn climbs up to the top rope, but Nakamura runs up and goes for a superplex. Zayn fights free and stomps Nakamura back down to the mat, but Nakamura gets right back up and knocks Zayn down. Zayn dodges the Kinshasa and throws Nakamura over the top rope to the outside. We're back from the commercial break. Zayn having Nakamura in a chinlock. Nakamura powers to his feet and hits a drop kick. Nakamura hits a sliding German suplex and goes to the top rope and hits a flying knee to the back of the head. Nakamura goes for a Kinshasa, but Zayn rolls out of the ring. Nakamura chases Zayn and catches him with a Michinoku driver. Nakamura gets back in the ring, and at the count of 9, as Zayn is in the disbelief. Zayn kicks Nakamura back outside, and Nakamura slams Zayn to the ring post. Zayn runs back in the ring at the count of 9 and immediately hit with a Kinshasa and covered for the 3 count. Shinsuke Nakamura picks up the win. So, Mr. Zayn, you're not doing very well, and you have to serve your tribal chief, right? God. We go to commercial break, and we return with Happy Corbin in the ring for another episode of Happy Talk. Corbin stands beside the Andre the Giant trophy and says this is the happiest that he's ever been. Corbin says he eliminated Madcap Moss and took the trophy as a souvenir, and he will put it next to the same trophy he already won. Corbin says he was fined greatly for his attack on Moss last week. Corbin says you can't put a price on art, and his assault on Moss was priceless work of art. Corbin says Moss had it good being Corbin's protege, but he wanted to escape his shadow and rise to the top of WWE. but never appreciate every great thing Corbin did for him. Corbin leaves the ring and destroys the Andre the Giant trophy over the steel stairs to a huge heat from the live crowd. We come back from another commercial break. We have Walter versus Drew Gulak. SmackDown returns with the match already underway. Gulak avoids a chop in the corner and hits a chop of his own. And Walter responds by hitting a chop and send Gulak halfway across the ring. Walter hits a power bomb and covers for a 3 count. Winner, Walter. After the match, Walter places Gulak in a Boston Crab. Intercontinental Champion Ricochet runs out to make the save, and instead of throwing him from the Grand Rapids to Lansing, Walter leaves the ring and heads to the back. Backstage, Adam Pearce is met by Max Dupri, LA Knight. So you mean to tell me that WWE gave him this name in NXT and now they're changing it? Why? I have no fucking clue. Oh, could it be that now Vince McMahon is still erasing everything fucking Triple H has done? It's going to be so sanitized, you're going to forget that Triple H was ever a part of NXT. You'll experience that on Peacock if you're in the United States. If you're abroad and in other countries, it'll be on the WWE network. So, LA Knight, who introduced themselves to Pierce, it says he represents the top agency in sports entertainment. Big fucking deal. Johnny, you got another person on the fucking your list to call to do budget cuts. Raquel Gonzalez versus Shotzi. The match begins with Gonzalez slamming Shotzi in the corner. Gonzalez hits a shoulder tackle. I gotta just say, Rodriguez charge to the ropes, but Shotzi counters back with a kick. Shotzi locks in a sleeper hold, but Rodriguez slams Shotzi to the corner to break the hold. Shotzi goes for a Hurricane Rana, but is caught and hit with a fallaway slam. Rodriguez hits a corkscrew splash from the middle rope and hits a one-arm power bomb for the cover for a 3 count. Winner Raquel Gonzalez or Rodriguez, whatever. We come back from commercial break. We have Xavier Woods versus Pete Dunne. The match begins with Woods hitting a forearm strikes to the face to knock Dunne out of the ring. Woods hits a drop kick to the outside and throws Dunne back in the ring. As the Woods enters the ring, Dunne stomps on his hand to gain the momentum. Woods goes for a roll-up, but Dunne counters and locks in a wrist lock and then stomps on Woods' rib cage. Woods hits a lariat out of the corner and covers for a 2 count. Woods surprises with an inside cradle to get the 3 count. Winner Xavier Woods. We have a winner take all match for the unified Raw and SmackDown tag team titles. The Usos versus RK Bro. Our main event championship unification match begins with Riddle going for a takedown on Jimmy Uso. Riddle tags in Orton, who hits a stomp to Jimmy's hand and tags Riddle back in. Jimmy reverses the Irish whip to send Riddle crashing into the corner. Jimmy locks in a chin lock. Riddle powers up to his feet, but Jimmy slams him right back down A ringside doctor enters the ring as the referee separates Jimmy and Riddle as Riddle appears to be injured on the mat as SmackDown went to commercial. SmackDown returns live with the Usos hitting a double power slam to Riddle. Michael Cole on commentary reveals that Riddle suffered a bruised hip off the earlier Irish whip. Jey Uso stomps on the newly bruised hip, and Jey tags into Jimmy in, who also stomps on the bruised hip of Riddle. Jimmy Uso hits a back suplex to prevent Orton from being tagged in, and Jimmy then tags in Jey. Riddle avoids a lariat and hits a knee strike and makes the hot tag to Orton, who hits Jimmy and then Jey with scoop slams. Orton hits the draping DDT and hits the RKO and covers, but Jey Uso runs in to break the 2 count. The count of at 2. Riddle tags in and hits a super kick. Riddle responds with a roundhouse kick and then a fisherman suplex. Jey hits a pop-up neck breaker and covers for a 2 count. Riddle goes up top, but Jey knocks Riddle off the top rope, crashing down to the mat. Jey goes up top. Riddle runs up to the top. Paul Heyman distracts the ref, and Roman Reigns runs up to save Jey and knocks Riddle to the mat. Jey Uso hits a splash and covers for a 3. The winners and the undisputed tag team champions, the Usos. Monday Night Raw. Raw. Let me take a sip of my coffee so I can keep. This week's show begins with a look at Friday night's SmackDown, where the Usos defeated RK Bro to become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion. Riddle comes out to the ring by himself. He says, "This is hard." He's here with a heavy heart. Randy, his mentor, his bro, his dude. The fans chant RKO. Riddle says, "The past few years have been hard for Randy, but these last few months have been extra difficult. His back has been killing him. Last Friday, Randy could barely walk before their tag team match on SmackDown." Riddle says he knew Randy wouldn't let him down because he knew how much it meant to him, and he knew how much it meant to the fans. Hats off to the Usos. They're a great team. But they cheated. Roman Reigns is a tribal piece of trash. He swears he will get his revenge on the bloodline. Before his career is over, he knows Randy has done more for him than anyone, and he loves him for it. He doesn't know what the future holds, and he doesn't know if RK Bro will ever be a thing again. But he knows Randy is watching, so he gets the fans to chant RK Bro. Now, that brought a tear to my eye. You know, Randy Orton has been always an asshole. All right? He's always been an asshole. And I got to give it to him in this late of his career to deal with this. And it shows it shows me that Randy isn't that much of an asshole, and he's able to give back, and that's what he's doing right now. This is what he is now doing. This is his role now. He needs to work with the younger superstars, and he's going to leave the WWE when he eventually retires just a little bit of a better place. So I gotta give him the kudos for doing this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it really is having a bad back or it's just storyline related. This is a way for now him to go away for a while. My feeling is when he does want to come back, which is SummerSlam time, he will most likely go after Riddle, and unfortunately, we're going to see the implosion of RK Bro. That's just my opinion. We come back from a commercial break, and the announcers run down the entire show. Cody Rhodes will face The Miz again. Rhea Ripley teams with Damian Priest to face Liv Morgan and AJ Styles. Jerry Lawler will interview Veer Mahan, and Bobby Lashley will host an almighty challenge. The Usos. The Usos cut a promo backstage in which they say the fans and Riddle are just jealous of them because they're the undisputed champs. As they're making their entrance, Riddle and the Prophets run up the ramp and attack them. A major brawl breaks out as we head to break. We have the Street Profits teaming up with Riddle versus the Usos and Sami Zayn. All right. Whatever at this point. This match finally gets underway with Zayn and Dawkins, and Sammy taunts with the Usos. We're the ones pose. Dawkins gets caught with a headlock but shoots Riddle off and drops him with a dropkick. Ford tags in and hits a dropkick of his own, then taunts the Usos. Riddle tags in and goes straight for Jimmy and Jay, allowing Zayn to beat him down in the corner. Zayn targets the taped ribs of I thought his hip was killing him. Riddle, which are the result of bloodlines putting him through the announce desk on Friday night. Zayn chokes Riddle on the middle rope, then dives a knee into his back and applies a body scissors. Zayn jumps on Riddle's back. Jey Uso tags in, but wastes time, and Riddle scoops him up and runs him into the buckles. Riddle kicks Jay over and over. 10 hits a fisherman buster for a near fall. Ford tags back in and connects with a clothesline, followed by some right hands. Jimmy blind tags in and pulls the rope down to send Ford onto the floor. Jimmy shoves Montez into the steel steps, then super kicks him and poses with Jay as we head to break. We come back from commercial. Zayn is in control of Ford and hits a back suplex to prevent a tag. Zayn knocks Dawkins off the apron, and Jay rips Riddle down to the floor, then back suplexes him onto the barricade. Ford with a small package, but Zayn kicks out and clotheslines him. Jay tags back in and pummels Ford on the mat. Jay throws Ford to the corner, but Montez knocks Zayn and Jimmy off the apron. Riddle gets the tag and clobbers the now legal Sami Zayn with kicks. Jay comes in and Riddle does the same to him and beats both of them, and Sammy in the corner with running forearms. Riddle with an exploder suplex to Jimmy, then one to Zayn. Jay comes in, but Dawkins hits him with an uppercut, then Jimmy with a spinning back elbow. Both Jimmy and Jay roll to the outside, but Ford dives over the ropes onto them with a Superman tope. Inside the ring, Riddle hits Zane with the draping DDT and wants an RKO, but the Usos get on the apron, but they both jump down and just walk off. Zane can't believe he's been left alone, and Riddle hits him with an RKO for a pinfall. The winners, Riddle and the Street Profits. We see a we see a replay of last week's cage match between Bobby Lashley and Amos. After the break, Amos will be subjected to Lashley's Almighty Challenge. We come back from commercial break. Bobby Lashley comes in the ring. He says last week he survived a steel cage match with the Giant. He saw the anger and the defeat of Amos' face, and he knew that they were far from over. They have a lot more to fight about. So he wasn't surprised to learn they're going to do it one more time at Hell in a Cell. However, tonight is the Almighty Challenge. So let's get things underway. Amos and MVP come to the stage. MVP says him and Amos don't just come running when Lashley calls. The whole world saw Amos beat Ashley's ass all over the cage, and if it wasn't for a faulty equipment, they'd be having a different conversation right now. Lashley tells MVP to shut up. He says a regular match between him and Amos won't be enough. So his challenge is he wants a match tonight, and the winner chooses the stipulation at Hell in a Cell. MVP Lashley is tripping. He barely survived last time. Amos got his hands on him. So why wouldn't he want that again? Lashley tells MVP to hush. He isn't finished. He has Amos at Hell in the Cell, but him and MVP have unfinished business. He wants MVP tonight, and the winner chooses the stipulation. Lashley accuses MVP of being scared, and MVP gets angry. MVP says he made Lashley, so it's only fitting he's responsible for his downfall. And when he beats his ass tonight, he will choose a stipulation that Lashley won't survive. Lashley scoffs and asks, when was the last time MVP won a match? He says MVP didn't make him, he made MVP. At Hell in the Cell, he whips Amos' ass. But tonight he puts MVP in the Hurt Lock. MVP and Amos come down the ramp and try to surround him, but Lashley knocks MVP off the apron and they retreated. We come back from commercial break. WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia on November 5th for the latest Crown Jewel Premium Live event. Can I please never cover the 24/7 fucking segment? I swear to God, I pray I will fucking every week get and I don't want to do it. Do I have to? Do I really fucking have to do this bullshit? I think that needs vodka. Dana Brooke is backstage with Adam Pearce. She says when Carmella is cleared to compete, what the fuck is she not cleared to compete? Oh, because she's still on her honeymoon. She's on wedding time. She's got a wedding injury. What, she got fucked too hard by Corey Graves? I should say, take that and say thank you, Corey. She wants her. Becky Lynch walks up and she complains that Asuka used poison mist to beat her last week. If she cared about his if he cared about his job, he would have stricken it from the record. He says the fair thing to do would be to give Becky a rematch tonight, and if, and she's tonight, and she's very happy. And adds if she wins, it becomes a triple threat at Hell in the Cell. The Judgment Day come to the ring. Damian Priest tells the fans to rise. He says last week Edge told the fans their mission statement and to join them. He says one aspect of the mission statement is modesty. Edge saw something in him and Rhea Ripley and set them free. If he hadn't, they would be sheep waiting for instructions, just like the fans. The thing the fans are missing is courage to be who they really are. Ripley addressed Liv Morgan and says that for the first time in her life, she should stop listening to the simpletons in the crowd. She might even be willing to forgive Liv if she starts thinking for herself. Ripley implores Liv to save herself by joining the Judgment Day. Edge says they are the truth. That's right, in front of everyone's faces. If they're just willing to see it, the Judgment Day is power, physical, and mental. The Judgment Day is an opportunity to rebuild your career under his learning tree. Imagine Tom Brady or Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan offering an olive branch that he's extending. Edge wasn't handpicked to sit on top of the mountain like John Cena. He got there by hard work. The fans are afraid of hard work. They're happy to sit back eating chips in cubicles and never climb the ladder. All sheep are afraid to grab life by the throat. They're not afraid, and they're offering the fans a chance to wake up. Edge continues that the superstars in the back, Judgment Day is opportunity to headbutt a glass ceiling, the same one he destroyed 2 decades ago. The fans chant, "You suck." And Edge says, no, look in the mirror for that. Edge asks who their next member will be. Who will be smart enough to reach out and out for the hands of the deity. I don't know if I'm fucking reading a fucking Matt Hardy promo. Jesus Christ. He throws out some names and says even AJ Styles could join them. He's all of the people should know by now that opposing them is bad for your health. He could join, and AJ's kids could start calling him Uncle Edge. Oh my God, that is fucking hilarious. Ugh. We come back from commercial break. We have a mixed tag. Liv Morgan and AJ Styles versus Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. We kick things off with the men, and Priest grabs a side headlock following a lockup. Styles shoots him off, but Priest hits a shoulder tackle. AJ is sent to the ropes, but grabs them to avoid a boot. Styles lands some strikes, rolls under a clothesline, and hits a dropkick. Ripley tags herself in, which means Liv is forced in, and she hits a Hurricane Rana to Rhea. Liv hits Ripley in the corner, then attempts a sunset flip, but gets scooped up and headbutted. Rhea punches Liv in the corner, then throws her across the ring. Morgan kicks Rhea and jumps at her, but gets caught and Rhea turns it into a standing suplex. Liv tries to counter but into a cradle, but Rhea hoists her back up. Morgan hits a Morgan slides down the back for a reverse DDT, and Ripley rolls out. Morgan connects with a suicide dive to Rhea after Priest narrowly ducks it. Then Styles hits a running knee to Priest from the apron. Edge goes to check on his minions as Liv and Styles pose in the ring. Morgan goes out and gets Ripley back inside, but eats a up kick. Ripley hits her standing suplex, then backs Morgan into the corner. Liv counters with a Hurricane Rana and makes a tag to Styles. Priest lands some strikes, but Styles backs him into the corner and hits a flying forearm. Priest rolls outside and AJ gets in the face of Rhea on the apron, which allows Priest to attack him from behind. Styles rolls outside and Damian goes after to drop him face first onto the apron. Edge laughs at AJ. Go to commercial break. When we come back, we have Priest prevents a tag and boots AJ backwards. Styles sends Priest to the apron and connects with a Pele kick that knocks him to the floor. That makes the tag to Liv. Ripley rushes in the opposite side but eats a flurry of offense from Morgan. Liv connects with a shining wizard in the corner, then a springboard missile jock kick. Morgan kips up and hits a rope-assisted recoil and covers, but Edge puts Rhea Ripley's foot on the bottom rope. Styles rushes around the ring and attacks Edge and then takes the fight to Priest as well. Both men fight into the ring, but AJ clotheslines them both back out. Liv looks for an oblivion, but Edge grabs Rhea from behind to save her. Ripley covers Morgan for the win. The winners are the Judgment Day. After the match, Styles attacks Edge, but the numbers get the better of him. Edge and Priest hit a spear leg sweep combo. Edge batters AJ, then instructs him to watch as Ripley hits a riptide on Liv. The Miz is interviewed backstage and asked about Cody Rhodes. Miz says that much like Seth Rollins, he is sick and tired of Cody Rhodes. If there's one thing he knows in life, is that you cannot trust a man with a neck tattoo. He says Cody's ego is out of control and he's got more pyro than the 4th of July. Miz says he's like the Kim Kardashian of WWE. Oh my god, I didn't even catch that. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? No, I think it's 2 fucking other bitches that are the Kim Kardashian of the WWE, and they're not even in the same fucking division. Miz, check Total Bellas. People want to know what he's doing at all times, and he doesn't need a countdown clock to get people to tune in. He said he's going to shut up Rhodes tonight. We come back and we go back from another commercial break. We have Jerry the King Lawler comes to the ring to host King's Court. So we've had Happy Talk, we've had the VIPs, whatever, and now we're having, oh my god, the show sucks. Lawler welcomes his guest for the show. A lion of a man, Veer Mahan. The king says people think Veer is a man of few words, but he wants to dispel that rumor. He asks Veer what's the secret to his success has been. Mahan just stares at Lawler. Jerry says that's the dumbest question, then asks why he has been targeting Ray and Dominic Mysterio. Again, Veer doesn't answer. Lawler says maybe Veer is angry because Ray said he's so hairy that when he takes his dog for a walk, people pet Veer. Lawler says another joke about how hairy Mahan is. And this time Veer grabs Lawler by the wrist and speaks into the microphone. He says Ray is a legend, but he cares about his son, and that makes him weak. Mahan asks if he smells fear on Lawler, and Jerry says it's probably just my cheap cologne. Veer throws the microphone and says, "How about the show?" Jerry's the kind of man he is. Mahan backs Lawler up into the corner, but out comes Ray and Dominic Mysterio. Veer meets them on the ramp and attacks them. He throws Ray into the ring, then Dominic too. As Veer tries to get into the ring, Ray and Dominic continually kick him back off. He keeps getting back up, so they tell him to get in the ring, but instead he shouts at them and leaves. Bliss, I can't say the first one because I got one on my stupid computer, is interviewed backstage, and she says she's incredibly happy to be back. She says Sonya Deville could probably do with some therapy because it worked wonders for her. Bliss says tonight she faces Nikki Ash, and they used to be friends. Everything worked out for the best though, because now she's best friends with a doll, and Nikki dresses like a superhero. It sounds weird when I say it out loud. Bliss reiterates that she's happy to be back and makes her entrance. We go to commercial break, and we have the match with Bliss and Nikki. The match begins. They lock up, and Bliss gets the better of it. Bliss extends a hand, but Nikki slaps across the face. So Alexa unloads with punches and knocks her out of the ring. Nikki regroups with Doudrop, and Bliss grabs her by the hair to get her back inside, but Nikki snaps her on the top rope. Nikki mauls Bliss in the ring and gets a sleeper hold. Bliss fights free and connects. Bliss fights free and connects with a jawbreaker, then a dropkick. Bliss hits an inverted natural selection. Bliss wants the DDT, but Nikki forces her back to the buckles. Nikki climbs up and looks for a suplex, but Bliss fights her off and hits a twisted Bliss for the win. The winner is Miss Bliss. I can't say the first one because my freaking thing triggers. Seth freaking Rollins is interviewed backstage. He says the fans used to sing his song every night he walked out, but now all he hears is the chants of for Cody. It makes him physically ill to hear that name. He mentions the countdown clock and asks, where does it stop? Where's his clock? It's in his mind, and what happens when it counts down to 0, Cody won't want to know. We come back from another commercial break. Asuka is interviewed backstage. She says that last week Becky was not ready for Asuka. Becky was too busy crying, and Asuka mocks her. Asuka says Lynch cried again and got another match tonight, but she will beat her again and turn her into big time baby because no one is ready for Asuka. Cody Rhodes versus The Miz for the what? Second time? Third time? I can't even keep track. The match gets underway and Miz backs Cody into the corner, but Rhodes turns it around and chops him. Miz takes Cody down with a side headlock. Cody fights up and turns the tables. Rhodes looks for a drop down uppercut a la Goldust, but Miz stomps him. Miz tries to pin him, but Rhodes kicks out and drop kicks Miz out of the ring. Rhodes wants a suicide dive, but Miz punches him as he comes through the ropes. Rhodes clubs Miz in the gut as he gets back in the ring, then hits a front suplex before applying a bow and arrow submission. Miz quickly fights out and hits a sunset flip off the middle rope, but Cody kicks out. Rhodes sends Miz to the ropes and knees him against them, then connects with a kitchen sink knee to drop him. Rhodes hits a running basement knee to the face for a 2 count. Rhodes runs at Miz in the corner and gets thrown up and lands crotch first on the top rope. With Rhodes perched on the rope, Miz connects with a running big boot and Cody tumbles to the floor as we head into break. We're back live and Miz looks for a jumping clothesline in the corner, but Rhodes avoids it and Miz lands awkwardly. Cody hits a snap power slam, then a kick to the gut and a Cody cutter. Rhodes applies a figure 4 leg lock, but Miz reaches the ropes to force the break and rolls outside. Rhodes goes to the top rope, but Seth Rollins appears and shoves him off and onto the barricade. Winner via disqualification, Cody Rhodes. Rollins continues the assault after the match and Miz joins in. They stomp him down near the barricades. Then Rollins lifts him and Irish whips him into the steel steps. And Cody goes over it, Mick Foley style. Rollins walks away but snatches Cody's weight belt from a child in the front row. Then goes back, whips Cody Rhodes in the back with it. Rollins leaves and Cody slowly drags himself to his feet and takes the belt back to the child as he leaves. Okay. I'm just wondering when we could get other people facing Cody. It's time, okay? We come back from a commercial break. We have Ezekiel versus Chad Gable. They lock up and Ezekiel takes Gable down, but the Olympian flips up and out. Gable leaps over Zeke, ducks a clothesline and couches him, but Otis trips Ezekiel and Gable follows up with a chop block. Gable starts going after the leg and shouts, "Thank you." Gable applies a submission before snapping the leg back and telling the fans to shush. Gable goes on top and wants a moonsault, but Zeke gets his feet up and catches him in the chin. Ezekiel hits a spinebuster, then chops Gable's hand in the corner a few times. Ezekiel kicks Gable back then hits a splash in the corner. Otis jumps on the apron and knocks Ezekiel down, but the referee caught it and ejects Zeke from the ringside. Otis and Gable are furious, and Owens slides to try to get involved, but he too gets ejected. As they are arguing, Ezekiel rolls Gable up for the win. The winner is Ezekiel. After the match, Ezekiel runs away through the crowd. Owens gets on the microphone and says he doesn't give a damn what he calls himself. He wants a piece of him at Hell in the Cell. We see Cody Rhodes emerge from the trainer's room and he's limping. Kevin Patrick asks for a response and Cody says his knee got dinged up and that's good news for him. Bad news for Seth Rollins. Seth's problem is that he can't stand the thought of going 0-3, but his worst nightmare is going to come true. We have Bobby Lashley and MVP. Bobby Lashley versus MVP. The winner chooses the stipulation at Hell in a Cell, sorry. The match gets underway and Lashley makes his move, but MVP bails to the outside. MVP eventually gets back in and continues to keep Lashley at bay, using the referee and the ropes. MVP goes outside and taunts Lashley, so the Almighty goes after him and sends MVP back inside. MVP fakes a knee injury and almost clotheslines Lashley at ringside. MVP gets Lashley in the corner and hits a big boot. MVP talks trash and Lashley at Lashley and slaps him in the face. Lashley gets angry and grabs him by the throat. Lashley hits a reverse STO. The clothesline him over the rope to the floor. Lashley goes out, lifts MVP onto his shoulders, and runs him headfirst into the ring post so he spins off. Lashley gets MVP back in the ring and almost runs at him, but Lashley clotheslines him over the barricade only to get counted out. Winner, MVP. MVP is arrogant, but after the match, Lashley comes in behind and applies the hurt lock and tosses MVP aside. The main event, Becky Lynch versus Asuka. If Becky Lynch wins, she gets added to the triple threat match at Hell in a Cell, and she will be able to go after the Raw Women's Championship yet again. Belair is at ringside for the main event. The bell rings and Lynch shoves Asuka a few times, but Asuka snaps her in the back of the head. Asuka drops Becky with a shoulder, then looks for a kick, but Lynch ducks it and pins her for a 1 count. Lynch slaps Asuka in the face twice. Then Asuka runs her backwards into the corner and shoulders her until the referee pulls her off. Lynch kicks Asuka and looks for a spin kick to the gut, but gets her foot caught and slammed down. Asuka looks for a armbar, but Becky gets to the ropes. Lynch rolls outside and Asuka goes to the apron for a kick, but Lynch avoids it. Becky shoves Asuka into the ring post and she falls to the floor. Go to a commercial break and we come back. Lynch sends Asuka to the outside and hits a baseball slide that knocks Asuka into the barricade. Asuka beats the referee count and Lynch immediately attacks her and tosses her back out. Lynch jumps off the apron with a forearm to Asuka. Becky gets her back out inside the ring and hits a leg drop from the middle rope for a near fall. Lynch is frustrated and she pummels Asuka with right hands. Asuka sends Becky out of the ring and she comes back in and hits stereo clotheslines and both are down. They get back up and Asuka lands a series of strikes. A German suplex, a sliding knee for a near fall. Asuka runs at Becky in the corner, but nobody's home. Lynch pins her and uses the ropes for leverage, but Asuka kicks out. Becky jumps off the middle rope, but Asuka catches her with a code breaker for a near fall. Immediately goes to the armbar. Lynch gets to the ropes to force the break, then climbs to the top rope. Asuka climbs up and grabs her for a suplex and earns a near fall. Asuka looks for a hip attack, but Lynch avoids it, then applies a disarmor over the ropes. Becky has to release at the count of 4, but Asuka then attacks her on the apron and hits a hip attack to send her to the floor. Asuka goes to the apron and hits a sliding knee. Asuka lifts Becky Lynch and hits a pop-up knee. And Becky falls into Bianca Belair's lap at ringside. Asuka swings and kicks and Asuka swings a kick and Becky ducks and Asuka hits Belair. Asuka gets back in the ring and Lynch rolls her up for a win. So Becky Lynch is now added to the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. I would have taken that and I would have taken the fucking Sunday off. I would have gone home and said, I'm going to be with my baby girl Rue. So that is that. We move on to NXT. This week's show opens with Tony D'Angelo and his stacks and 2 dimes backstage. Tony says last week Santos Escobar couldn't handle things like a man. He had to sucker him with a pair of brass knucks. But salute to him. Next time he won't get that opportunity. Stacks and 2 dimes say that they're about to smash the faces of Malik Blade and Edris Enofi. So we have that match. Stacks takes the fight to Enofi right as the bell rings. Edris is backed into the corner and Donovan tags in so the 2 goons can hit back elbows to Enofi. Donovan lands a body slam for 1 count, then tags Lorenzo. Stacks elbows Enofi and hits the ropes, but Enofi leaps over him sideways and connects with a dropkick. Blade tags in and keeps the offense on Stacks and connects with a dropkick before tagging Enofi again. Enofi and Blade team to knock Stacks down, and Stacks down in the corner, but 2 dimes caused a distraction and Stacks dropped Edris. Donovan tags in and beats Enofi down as we see Legado del Fantasma watching on the monitor backstage. Enofi starts firing back with elbows and a springboard knee, and both men are down. Tag to Blade and he springboards in and trips on the rope. Blade sends Donovan out of the ring and takes Lorenzo down with a springboard crossbody for a near fall. A backslide to Lorenzo and earns Malik a 2 count. Lorenzo takes Edefi down at ringside, and then Blade is dropped with a clothesline as Legado del Fantasma walk down the ramp. Two Dons tags in and they hit stereo punches and kicks to the faces for the win. Channing stacks Lorenzo and Troy Two Dimes Donovan pick up the win. As soon as the match ended, Tony D'Angelo gets on the microphone and tells Legado to bring it. Legado rushes down to the ring, and the two families brawl until they pulled apart by officials as fans chant, "Let them fight." Wesley is interviewed backstage and says he's running on adrenaline when he challenged Sangha to a match last week. He felt disrespected and he stand by what he said. Lee says we might not understand it, but he needs to face guys like Sangha to prove himself and everyone else that he can do it. So we have, as we're coming back from commercial, we have Sangha versus Wesley. The bell rings and Lee has bandaged ribs. Jumps on Sangha with a side headlock. Sangha throws him off and catches a kick. Sangha forces Lee to the corner and then hits one of the biggest beels you'll ever see. Sangha shoves Lee into the ropes and forearms him in the back when he bounces back. Sangha stands on Lee and gets out of the ring. Sangha drops Lee under the ropes and uppercuts him. Sangha grabs a bear hug to target the taped ribs. Lee elbows himself free and lands some kicks that knock Sangha out of the ring. West dives over the ropes onto Sangha, but the big man doesn't fall. Lee beats Sangha against the steel steps, but the big man fires back with clubbing blows and he goes down. Back inside the ring, Lee knocks Sangha down with a kick, then dives off the ropes, but Sangha avoids him. Sangha hits a clothesline that turns Lee inside out. Sangha picks up Lee and hits a massive choke slam, then covers him for the pinfall. Sangha wins. Sangha leaves. Zion Quinn comes into the ring. Quinn corners Lee, who can barely stand, but Sangha returns and throws Quinn backwards. Sangha helps Lee to his feet. Cora Jade is backstage with Roxanne Perez, and she asks if she's ready for the semifinals tonight. Jade reminds Perez of a time where some girl threw their stuff out of the locker room and she beat her that night. Perez reminds Jade that she hit the girl with her skateboard afterwards. They joke around and agree to watch the match between Alba Fry and Elektra Lopez. We come back from commercial. Braun Breaker is walking around backstage and two guys tell him that Joe Gacy is in the room down the hall. Breaker busts into the room, but there's no one there. The NXT Championship is hanging on a locker. Next to it is a photograph of Breaker when he was a kid. Albert Fire versus Elektra Lopez. The match starts with a lockup and immediately spills out of the ring. Lopez runs Alba into the apron, then back into the ring. Fire drops Lopez for a 1 count. Lopez starts going after the left arm of Fire. and runs her into the ring post. Lopez goes outside and yanks Alba's arm into the ring post, then waves at Cora Jade in the front row. Fire moves out of the way of a boot, then kicks Lopez in the gut and tries for a gory bomb, but Elektra counters. Lopez catches Alba with a boot to the face. Fire rolls up Lopez, but she kicks out. Fire drills Lopez with a headbutt, then heads to the top with and hits Lopez with a swanton bomb and gets the pinfall. The winner is Alba Fire. She's on a tear. She may be the one to take the title off of Mandy Rose. Who knows? But she doesn't need it. Diamond Mine is backstage, and Damon Kemp informs the Creed brothers that their match with Pretty Deadly isn't tonight. It isn't happening because Roderick Strong rolled his ankle. Julius says that's BS. That's a BS excuse. Roddy's ankle better be hanging by a thread. Which doesn't make sense because this past weekend was his son's birthday and they were wrestling around. He people are so idiots, I swear. Kemp says he'll go get some more information, and Julius says Pretty Deadly can have tonight, but they won't be so lucky at In Your House. Come back from a commercial break. Fallon Henley is backstage with Briggs and Jensen and has announced that Nikita Lyons got injured training and she can't compete in the tournament. Henley wishes Lyons well and says it's not a preferred way of getting to the finals, but it is what it is. Tiffany Stratton walks up and says Henley should be ashamed that she got a pass to the final. Her little cowgirl look might fool Dumb and Dumber, but isn't fooling her. Henley says she'll happily kick Stratton's ass to get to the final. Women's Breakout Tournament semifinal. Lash Legend versus Roxanne Perez. The match gets underway and Perez lands some strikes, but Legend counters her and hits a reverse suplex. Legend picks Perez up with a standing double underhook, then lands a backbreaker for a 2 count. Lash chokes Perez on the bottom rope, then lifts her up, but Roxanne slides around onto her back and applies a sleeper. Legend runs Perez into the buckles a few times to force the break, but Roxanne lands some running forearms and backslash up in the corner. Roxanne wants a head scissors, but Legend throws her off and hits a clothesline. Legend wants a power bomb, but Perez counters it with a pop rocks for the win. Roxanne Perez is the winner and she's moving on. Toxic Attraction are backstage and they start talking trash about Indy Hartwell. But they get attacked by Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Officials try to break it up, and Mandy leaves for her matches next. Indy Hartwell versus Mandy Rose. The match gets underway, and Hartwell grabs the arm, but Rose moves to the ropes to force the break. Mandy slams Indy down by the hair for a 1 count. Rose rings the arm elbows the shoulder, and starts targeting the limb. Rose hits a running knee to the shoulder of Indy in the corner, then hits a snapmare and a kick to the back. Rose drills Hartwell with shoulders in the corner. Hartwell whips Mandy to the opposite corner and hits Snake Eyes, then lands some short arm clotheslines. Hartwell lands a sidewalk slam for a 2 count, and Mandy rolls out of the ring to regroup. Come back from the commercial. We see Indy fight out of the abdominal stretch and hit a hip toss. Mandy drills Indy with a forearm to the jaw for a 2 count. Rose shouts in Hartwell's face and shoves her. Hartwell fights up and they trade shots, but she gets the better of the exchange. Indy sends Mandy to the apron and hangs her on the rope for a big boot and scores a 2 count. Indy lands a fury of offense and catches Rose with a spinebuster for a 2 count. Both women are down, and out comes Gigi Dolan and JCJ, but Casey Catanzaro and Katie Carter come running down behind them. The four of them brawl around ringside. Jay gets in the ring and knocks Catanzaro out. Indy then boots Jay, but Rose drops Indy with a knee and scores the win. Mandy Rose retains. After the match, Rose goes up the ramp and poses with her title as the other four women fight off into the abyss. Wendy Chu attacks Rose from behind and lifts the NXT Women's Championship. Braun Breaker is shown being interviewed backstage. The interviewer asks if Gacy is getting in his head, and Braun said he's not falling for the games. The TV suddenly shows a clip of Braun scoring a 84-yard touchdown in high school. Breaker says he's got no idea how Gacy got that clip. His dad was meant to be at that game, but he couldn't make it. Braun shakes his head and says, "It won't work." We come back from commercial break. Pretty Deadly are backstage and they make fun of Diamond Mine, saying there is some major issues in the mine. They are total in sync. They are synonymous with tag team greatness. I wouldn't say that. There's better tag teams than you by leaps and bounds, Pretty Deadly. So just slow your roll on that. Thank you. Women's Breakout Tournament semifinal. Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton. They lock up and Stratton gets whipped into the corner where she leaps over Henley and does some backflips. Henley grabs a side headlock but gets shot off and hits a shoulder tackle. Henley taunts Stratton, who pulls her hair and slaps her across the face. Stratton boots Henley in the gut but eats a few kicks. Henley drops Stratton on the bottom rope, slides under and connects with a uppercut. Henley gets on the apron, but Stratton snaps her leg on the rope. Stratton hits a hip attack to Fallon, then kicks her leg a few times. Stratton hits a rope-assisted tope for a near fall. Stratton with a chop block, then a handspring elbow into the corner. Stratton hits a double stomp for a near fall. Tiffany applies a submission to the leg, which is kind of like a modified figure eight, during which she blows a kiss to the fans. Henley slaps her to get free, then slams Stratton down by the face. Henley with a clothesline and more punches than another. Feastbuster looks to run, looks to run, but her leg gives out. Stratton connects with a dropkick in the corner, then a spinning Vader bomb for the win. Stratton picks up the win. Grayson Waller comes out to celebrate with Stratton. After the win, Stratton is now in the finals of the breakout tournament where she will face Roxanne Perez, which right now, the way I'm looking at it, Stratton's going to win the winning. Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro are interviewed backstage. Catanzaro says they're fed up with people mistaking their kindness for weakness. Caden said they don't care if it's NXT 1.0 or 2.0. They want to prove that they're the best, that they're the best, and they're not taking any crap. They want the tag team titles at In Your House. Wendy Chu walks up and says it would be great if they won the tag team titles at In Your House, and she won the women's championship. Back from commercial break, Duke Hudson approaches Braun Breaker backstage and says he knows he didn't do any of those things tonight. Braun says he does. Hudson says regardless, he's going to be dangerous tonight, and Breaker isn't interested. Duke goats him, and Breaker shoves him up against some lockers, and Hudson says Gacy was right about you. Von Wagner versus Ikemen Jiro. Man, I could go for a great black and gold match. I'm feeding for it. Jiro runs down the ramp, slides in, and attacks Wagner right away. Wagner wants a powerbomb, but Jiro punches him away. Jiro jumps at Wagner, but gets caught with a power slam. Wagner stomps Jiro and backs him into the corner where he lands some lariats. Jiro goes to the top rope, but Wagner rips him off and hits the buckles on the way down. Wagner applies a bear hug and takes Jiro down. Ikemen lands some right hands and knocks Wagner back, then goes to the apron and hits a springboard dropkick. Jiro counters a back suplex and hits an enziguri that knocks Wagner out of the ring. Jiro hits a dropkick through the ropes, then springboard moonsault to Wagner on the floor. Jiro gets Wagner back inside and goes up top to hit a leaping STO. Jiro opens his jacket up and readies for something. But Wagner pulls the jacket over his head and clubs him several times. Von Wagner lifts Jiro up and hits an angle slam and covers him for the win. Von Wagner picks up the win. Sophia Cromwell is on the ramp, and she instructs Wagner to throw Jiro over the ropes like he did to Wesley last week. Before he can do it, Josh Briggs appears and fights Wagner off. Cromwell stops Wagner from getting back into the ring. Tony D'Angelo and his goons are leaving the arena. He says his boys got the win tonight, but he's demanding another meeting with Legado del Fantasma. Last time they came to meet him, but this time he wants to go to Legado. Stacks and Two Dimes are concerned about D'Angelo, but he's going to make them an offer they can't refuse. Stone and Cromwell and Von Wagner are backstage, and Robert is furious. He said Wagner has pissed off a lot of people in NXT, so he best have eyes in the back of his head. Cromwell says if you want to make it in NXT, you need to ruffle feathers, and that's what Wagner is doing. Stone agrees with her. Mandy Rose cuts a promo with Gigi and JC. She says she is done with Wendy Chu. The thought of Wendy touching her title makes her sick. Chu is a joke and a grown-up kid. Jay laughs at Casey and Caden and says they're going to send them back to Munchkinland. They say they are running with the ball. Look east. Dolan says they rose to the top in the remarkable time, and the others can't even get a taste of what they've achieved. Next week they can make it official. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams a trip to the barbershop. Hayes says he needs to get the North American Championship back from Cameron Grimes. He says he's not walking the same way, talking the same. He barely recognizes himself. Trick tells him to relax and says Hayes is still the guy. Grimes showed up and says there's no need for them to get hot. He says last week before he and Solo beat them down, Hayes said he's lucky. Hayes reiterates it and says Grimes doesn't deserve the title, doesn't carry it the way he did. He says Grimes is just a title holder. Grimes says he earned the title and all Hayes will ever be is a champion. Hayes will ever be is a champion. Grimes says a lot of people are saying Nathan Frazier is better version of Hayes, and what better way to prepare for their match by beating the better version than in your house he proves that he's is the A champion. Commercial break. We come back. We have Duke Hudson versus Braun Breaker. The bell rings. Joe Gacy appears with a red hooded goons above the arena on the platform. Hudson takes advantage of the distraction and backs Breaker into the corner and knees him. Braun fires back with a body slam, then catches Duke with a Frankensteiner. Breaker with an exploder suplex, but Hudson kicks his knee and gets him down. Hudson lands some right hands to the back of the head. Breaker leapfrogs Duke and hits a gator roll, then deadlifts him for a standing vertical suplex. Breaker kips up as Hudson rolls to the outside. Breaker goes out after him, but Duke connects with a lariat, then rolls him back in. Hudson scores a 2 count, then lands an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. Gacy smiles as Braun drops Duke, and they're both down. We come back from the commercial break, and Hudson has Breaker on the top rope and punching him. Gacy and his minions are now at ringside. Breaker knocks Hudson back, but gets shoved off and lands gut first on the top rope. Braun falls to the outside, and Hudson goes after him to throw him into the steel steps. Gacy is at one side of the ring, and his Resident Evil 4 druids are on the ramp blocking the way. Hudson clobbers Breaker with a mounted forearms. Braun slides underneath and locks for a Steiner recliner, but Hudson spins around and whacks him in the throat. Hudson wants the crucifix bomb, but Braun flips him over. Breaker lands some flying shoulder blocks and rips the straps down. Breaker knocks Hudson out of the ring with a clothesline. Breaker gets Hudson back inside, and the Druids make a move, but Breaker fights them off. Braun gets back in the ring, and Hudson has a steel chair, but Braun takes it off of him. The hooded men run in, and Breaker throws them both back out. Then Gacy gets on the apron, and Braun swings the chair, but he jumps off. Duke grabs Breaker and winds up getting hit with the chair. Winner via disqualification, Duke Hudson. After the match, Breaker is annoyed at himself, and Gacy just smiles at him from ringside. The show ends with them staring at each other. And as you well know, I will be covering that weekend, which is June 4th, is In Your House, and I think the 5th is Hell in a Cell. So that weekend is going to be cray. But that will be it. I'm letting you know for my double or nothing coverage. The preview predictions will be pre-recorded, and it will be going live on Sunday at 2 p.m. I will be going live legitimately right after Double or Nothing. You're going to get the review of Double or Nothing. So, and then of course I'll be back for episode 241 that Friday. We're gonna get all like the juicy details of what happened and the outcome and the fallout show of Double or Nothing on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. I want everybody to have an incredible holiday weekend. Please go check out my my Instagram and my Twitter. Both are Mel'S Mat Chat. And if you're really serious, want to follow me on Instagram, you have to DM me and just say, just try to get my attention that you're serious wanting to follow me, because that is a private account. On my Twitter, it's all open. Go follow me there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Snapchat, and I'm on TikTok. So go look me up there. All right. And please, if you're following me here, make sure you go onto the bell that's on my YouTube channel, and make sure it's on, and it says all notifications. So when I go live, you'll know about it. Again, have a great holiday weekend. Please be safe. And if you're going to drink, please set up an Uber or a Lyft to get you home. I'm going to be not on roads, but other people will be, of my loved ones. I don't want them to get hit by a car and everything like that. So again, have a great holiday weekend, and Double or Nothing this Sunday. Can't wait. Have a great day. See you on Sunday for the preview predictions. Love you all.